Little Shaq, Chapter 1, Slam Dunk. Little Shaq dribbled the basketball, bouncing it up and down. He moved his feet from side to side. His sneakers squeaked against the court. Come on, Little Shaq, pass me the ball, his cousin Barry shouted. Barry's voice sounded far away. The game clock was down to 5 seconds. If Little Shaq scored this basket, his team would win the game. I'm open, Barry yelled. Little Shaq took a deep breath. The clock ticked down. 3, 2. Little Shaq's friend, Walter Skipple, raised his arms to block the ball, but he wasn't fast enough. With one quick leap, Little Shaq shot the ball into the air. It flew off his fingertips towards the basket. Swish! The ball slid through the net just as the buzzer sounded. Beep! Nothing but net, Little Shaq cheered. We won. Great shot, Little Shaq, said Walter. Next time, you're on my team. Little Shaq looked around the gym to say good game to Barry, but he couldn't find him anywhere. Nice effort, everyone, Coach Mackin said. See you all here tomorrow. Little Shaq ran to get his backpack from the bench. His next-door neighbor, Rosa, Lindy, was sitting in the bleachers. Did you see where Barry went? He asked her. Rosa looked up from her book of puzzles. She shook her head no. Little Shaq sighed. Whenever Barry left the gym by himself, he was mad about something. Outside, Barry kicked at the dirt along the edge of the rec center's dried-up garden. He was waiting for Nana Ruth to pick them all up. There you are, Barry, Little Shaq called. Barry didn't answer and turned his head away. Little Shaq felt his tummy sink. Barry wasn't only mad. He was mad at Little Shaq. On the drive home, Rosa chatted with Nana Ruth, but Barry just stared out the window. Little Shaq knew he had to do something. He tried to make funny faces. He tried making silly noises. He tried everything. Nothing would make Barry talk. Hey, Barry, Little Shaq said finally. Want to play Ultimate Pro Jams when we get to my house? Ultimate Pro Jams was Little Shaq's and Barry's favorite basketball video game. You can be player 1, he added, hoping this would cheer Barry up. Really? Barry asked, turning around. Player 1 got to name the team and pick the jerseys. Being player 1 was the best. Sure, said Little Shaq. Barry thought for a moment while Nana Ruth parked outside Little Shaq's house. Well, okay, he replied. Little Shaq and Barry ran inside and changed their clothes before heading to the family room. Rosa had already snuggled onto the sofa with her book. Let's name our team the O'Neill Tigers, said Little Shaq. Little Shaq and Barry had the same last name, so the first part was easy, but they didn't always agree on the mascot. Little Shaq liked cats, Barry liked birds. But Barry's player 1, so he gets to pick the name, said Rosa. Besides, you were the Tigers 2 games ago. Rosa was the smartest girl in Little Shaq's class. She had a great memory. Sometimes Little Shaq wished that she didn't remember everything. Tigers are the coolest, Rosa, Little Shaq replied. They are the kings of the jungle. That's lions, Barry laughed. Barry typed O'Neill's Falcons onto the screen and pressed play. Their team started out with the ball. Barry's player dribbled it down the court, but the defense came on strong. Watch out, Little Shaq shouted as a player reached in and stole the ball, taking it back the other way. You gotta protect the ball, Barry, he said. I know, Barry replied. Here, watch me, Little Shaq said as the player grabbed the ball from Barry's after a rebound. Little Shaq turned his players back to the defense and moved him down the court. I did that before, Barry said, and I can do lots of things that you can't. Oh, yeah? Said Little Shaq. Well, I bet you can't do this. Little Shaq gripped his controller tight and hit 2 buttons at once. His players soared across the court, high into the air, and reached for the net. With another push of a button, Little Shaq spun his player around and jammed the ball through the basket. Slam dunk, Little Shaq shouted. Forget it, Barry yelled. I don't want to play anymore. I was just trying to win, Little Shaq said. Let's start another game. It's no fun watching you play, Barry said. You never let me shoot. Barry threw his controller down hard. It bounced off the toy truck and smashed right into the game console. Barry looked up at Little Shaq, his eyes wide. Little Shaq pulled the game out of the machine. Look what you did! Little Shaq yelled. You broke it! Who broke what? Little Shaq's dad said, coming into the room. Barry and Little Shaq both started to talk at once. Rosa, can you tell me what happened? Dad asked. Sure, she said. Barry maybe accidentally broke the video game. See, Little Shaq shouted. But, Rosa went on, it was kind of Little Shaq's fault too. Ha! Barry said. Okay, said Dad. Rosa, why don't you go fetch Malia and Tater for dinner? Dad sat down between Little Shaq and Barry and put his arms around their shoulders. Little Shaq closed his eyes tight. He hated fighting. Whenever he fought with his older sister Malia, she always won, and fighting with his younger brother Tater was even worse. But fighting with Barry was the worst of all. Little Shaq breathed in Dad's woodsy scent and felt a little better. It was my favorite game, Little Shaq said in a quiet voice. Barry should have to buy me a new one. But it seems like you were both at fault, son, said Dad. You don't think so? Little Shaq thought about the game at the rec center. Suddenly, he remembered Barry calling for the ball on the court, and he thought about the slam dunk from the video game. Little Shaq's tummy sank for a second time that day. Barry was right. Little Shaq never let him shoot. Little Shaq turned to his cousin. I'm sorry for hogging the ball, he said. It's okay, Barry replied. I'm sorry for breaking the game. Dad patted them both on the back. But what about the video game? Little Shaq asked. It's still broken. Well, said Dad, if you guys want a new game, you'll have to work together to earn it. Little Shaq looked over at Barry. He didn't know how they were going to do that.